My girlfriend screamed that I was suffocating her because I asked where she was at 3 a.m. I said okay, packed my entire life while she slept, and vanished to another state without a single word. 3 years later, she tracked me down with a surprise that almost destroyed everything I had rebuilt. I still remember exactly when something inside me just switched off. It was a Thursday night, somewhere around 3 a.m., and I woke up reaching for her side of the bed. Empty, cold sheets. She had been gone for a while. This was not the first time I had woken up alone in the middle of the night, but something about this particular moment felt different. Wrong. Her phone was downstairs on the kitchen counter, buzzing non-stop with notifications she was not there to check. I grabbed my phone and sent a simple text. "Hey babe, everything okay? Where are you?" That was it. A worried boyfriend checking on his girlfriend of 2 years who had disappeared from their bed without any explanation seemed reasonable to me. My phone rang 30 seconds later. She was screaming before I could even say hello. "Are you actually serious right now? You are checking up on me at 3 a.m. Do you understand how suffocating you are?" I was half asleep and genuinely confused. "I just woke up and you were not here. I got worried. That is all." "No," she cut me off. "You are controlling. This is exactly the problem. You are always breathing down my neck, always asking questions, always needing to know every single thing I do. I cannot breathe around you anymore. I just need space. Why cannot you give me space?" My brain was still foggy from sleep. I did not understand what was happening. Space from what? We lived together. "You were not in bed at 3 a.m. I asked where you were. How is that controlling? You are too clingy," she said. Her voice was cold now. "I need space. God, just give me space." The line went dead. I sat there in the dark living room of our apartment. 2 years together, 8 months living under the same roof. And apparently I was too clingy for asking a simple question when she vanished in the middle of the night. Something clicked off inside me. Not anger, not sadness, just this complete and total shutdown. Like my brain decided it was done processing emotions about this person. I looked around the apartment. The couch was mine from my old place. The television I had bought. The kitchen table, the chairs, the dishes, all mine. The lease was in my name because her credit score was destroyed from some mess she never fully explained. I paid 70% of everything because she had been between jobs for 6 months. Between jobs was generous. She had not seriously looked for work in that entire time. "Okay," I said out loud to nobody, just that one word. "Okay." She came home at 6:23 a.m. I pretended to be asleep. She slipped into bed like nothing had happened. She smelled like cigarettes and something else I chose not to think about too hard. Her phone kept buzzing on the nightstand. She silenced it without looking and passed out within minutes. I waited until her breathing went deep and steady. Then I got to work, called my boss at 8 a.m. sharp, family emergency. I need to use my vacation days starting today. He was understanding about it, asked if everything was okay. I told him I would explain later. I had no intention of explaining anything. Called my buddy who owed me about 5 favors from over the years. "I need your truck and your help today. I will cover gas and buy you dinner, whatever you want." He showed up at 10 a.m. with no questions asked. She was still dead asleep, probably hungover from whatever she had been doing all night. We moved fast and quiet. Every single piece of furniture that belonged to me went into that truck. My clothes, my electronics, my kitchen equipment, everything. My buddy just kept loading boxes without saying a word. He could read the situation. I left all her stuff exactly where it was, her clothes in the closet, her makeup scattered across the bathroom counter. That expensive hair straightener she just had to have that I ended up paying for. I even left the bed since she was still sleeping in it. Not my problem anymore. Grabbed all my important documents. Birth certificate, passport, social security card, everything. Canceled my name from the utilities right there on my phone while my buddy drove the first load to his place for temporary storage. Went to the bank next. We had kept separate accounts, thank God, but I had been sending her money every week through Venmo for groceries and gas and whatever else she claimed to need. Deleted the app entirely. Changed my phone number at the carrier store. New SIM card, new number, done. Then I did something that still surprises me when I think about it. I had been planning to propose to this woman, had a ring picked out and everything. Spent over $4,000 I had saved up over a year working overtime. Went straight back to the jeweler and explained the situation. Took a loss on the return but walked out with $3,000 in cash. Used that money plus my savings to put down a deposit on an apartment in another state. There was a job offer I had turned down 6 months earlier because she said she could not leave her friends behind, called them back. Position was still available. I could start in 2 weeks. The entire operation took 11 hours. By 9 p.m. I was completely gone. No note, no explanation, no goodbye. She wanted space. I gave her infinite space. Blocked her number before the new SIM card was even fully activated. Blocked her on every social media platform, blocked her email, blocked her friends, blocked her sister. Everyone connected to her was gone from my digital life. Slept at my buddy's place that night. He kept looking at me like I had lost my mind. "You good man?" "Yeah," I told him. And the weird thing was that I actually meant it. I felt nothing, just completely done. Drove 15 hours the next day to my new city. Started the new job 2 weeks later. New apartment, new life, new phone number, clean break. That was 3 years ago. Update one. Life actually turned out pretty good. The new job paid better than the old one, made some solid friends, started seeing someone about 8 months ago. Nothing too serious yet, but healthy. Actually went to therapy for a while to work through my trust issues and whatever else that relationship had done to my head. Bought decent furniture, learned to enjoy living alone. Then last Tuesday happened. I was at a coffee shop near my office, working on my laptop, minding my own business. Someone sat down across from me without asking. "So this is where you have been hiding." I looked up from my screen, my ex-girlfriend. Sitting there like we had just seen each other yesterday instead of 3 years ago. My brain completely short-circuited. "What the hell? Took me forever to find you. You just vanished. Changed your number, deleted everything. Do you have any idea what you put me through?" I closed my laptop slowly. "How did you find me? Your friend finally told me where you went. Took some convincing, but I can be very persuasive." She smiled like this was some cute game we were playing. "We need to talk." "No, we do not." I started packing up my stuff. She grabbed my wrist hard. "Yes, we do. You left with no explanation, nothing. You just disappeared like a coward. You told me I was too clingy and that you needed space. I gave you space. Seems like exactly what you asked for. That is not what I meant, and you know it. I was just stressed that night." Stressed at 3 a.m. when you were not home and would not tell me where you were. Her face twitched. "I was with friends. Girls' night ran late, that is all. Cool, enjoy your space." I pulled my wrist back and stood up to leave. "Wait." She stood too. Her voice was getting louder. People in the coffee shop were starting to stare. "I am pregnant." The whole place seemed to go quiet, or maybe that was just my ears ringing. "Congratulations. I am sure the father will be thrilled." "You are the father." I actually laughed out loud, could not help it. "The math does not work. We broke up 3 years ago. That would make your pregnancy about 1,000 days along. Pretty sure that is a medical impossibility." "Do not be stupid. It is from before. I did not find out until after you left." "Stop." I held up my hand. "I'm not doing this. Whatever scam you are running, find someone else." "It is not a scam. I have a 2-year-old son, and you are his father, okay?" That changed things slightly. Not that I believed her, but the timeline at least made mathematical sense now. "Show me proof." "What?" "Show me a picture, birth certificate, something." She pulled out her phone with shaking hands and showed me a photo. The kid looked like any random 2-year-old. Brown hair, blue eyes, could have been literally anyone's child. "Birth certificate says father unknown," she added. "I did not know where you were, but he is yours. I know he is. DNA test, set it up. If the kid is mine, we will figure out what that means legally. If not, lose my number, again." "Are you serious? After everything you put me through, you are questioning me? You showed up out of nowhere after 3 years claiming I have a child." "Yeah, I am questioning it. DNA test or we are done here." She went quiet. That thing she used to do where her jaw clenched tight. "Fine, but when it comes back positive, you owe me 3 years of child support, backdated. If it comes back positive, lawyers will figure out what I owe. Not you, not your mother, lawyers." I walked out and got in my car, sat there for 20 minutes with my hands shaking. A kid, after 3 years, the timing was technically possible. We had slept together right before I left. If she was already pregnant when I ghosted her, then maybe. No, something felt wrong, really wrong about all of this. I called my buddy from back home, the one who helped me move. "Hey, weird question. Did my ex ever contact you asking where I moved?" "Dude, she called me probably 80 times over the first 6 months. I told her every single time that I did not know where you went. But she said you finally told her where I was, that you caved." Long pause on his end. "No man, I never told her anything. Have not heard from her in like 2 years now, so she lied about how she found me." Great start to this whole situation. Update 2: she texted me from a number I did not have blocked. "DNA test scheduled for Saturday at 2 p.m. Be there or I am filing for child support without you." More threats. Lovely. I responded calmly. Send me the address and lab name. I will verify it is legitimate before I agree to anything. She sent the information. Some place I had never heard of. I Googled it. Quick results DNA lab, fast, affordable, confidential. The website looked sketchy as hell. Reviews were either 5 stars or 1 star with nothing in between. Classic fake review pattern. I called a lawyer friend for advice. Do not go to that lab, he said immediately. Schedule your own test through a certified facility. Court-admissible results only, otherwise it is worthless. I texted her back, not using that lab. Here is a list of 3 court-approved facilities. Pick one and I will meet you there. Her response came fast. Are you serious right now? I already paid for this one. You cannot just change everything to suit yourself. You are so controlling. There it was again, that word, controlling. Court-approved lab or no test. Your choice. She called me 12 times that afternoon. I did not answer any of them. Then her mother called from yet another number I did not have blocked. You need to stop playing games with my daughter. She has been through hell raising your child alone while you were living it up in another state. Hello. This is the first I am hearing about any child. I'm happy to take a DNA test through a legitimate facility. If you know where I live and work, you know I have stability. If the child is mine, I will handle my responsibilities. Through lawyers and courts. She does not want lawyers involved. She just wants you to be a father. Then she should have told me 3 years ago. Now everything goes through official channels. You owe her. Do you have any idea what she went through? Pregnant and abandoned, she had to move back in with us. She could not work. Her whole life fell apart because of you. She told me I was too clingy and needed space. I gave her exactly what she asked for. She was scared. She did not know how to tell you about the baby. You traumatized her with your jealous, controlling behavior. This was genuinely fascinating in a horrible way. 3 years later, and suddenly I was the villain. The controlling, jealous boyfriend who traumatized her. Not the guy who got screamed at for asking a simple question at 3 a.m. I'm hanging up now. Tell your daughter to pick one of the labs I sent or we are done. She finally picked one. Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Court-approved facility with proper chain of custody procedures. I arrived 30 minutes early. She showed up 10 minutes late with her mother and some guy I did not recognize. Boyfriend, the actual father. No idea, did not care, the kid was there, cute kid actually. Looked tired and confused by everything happening around him, kept asking who is that about me. This is someone we need to talk to, she told him, which was a weird way to describe the person she claimed was his father. The lab tech explained the whole process. Cheek swabs, proper documentation, results in 3 to 5 business days. The kid started crying when they tried to swab him. She got annoyed immediately. Stop being difficult. Just open your mouth. The kid just cried harder. I do not have much experience with children, but even I knew yelling at a crying 2-year-old was not going to help anything. The tech offered to try again in a few minutes. We waited in incredibly awkward silence. Her mother kept glaring at me like I had personally ruined everything. The boyfriend or whoever he was just kept scrolling his phone. Very involved. Finally got the swabs done from everyone. I provided mine, signed all the paperwork. They said results would be emailed. As I was leaving, she followed me to my car. When this comes back positive, we need to talk about money. Through lawyers, stop saying that. I do not want lawyers involved. I just want you to help support your son. If he is mine, I will. Properly, legally. Not whatever under-the-table arrangement you are trying to set up. You are still trying to control everything. This is exactly why I needed space from you in the first place. I turned around to face her directly. You vanished at 3 a.m. and screamed at me for asking where you were. Then I left and you had 3 entire years to reach out through legal channels if there was actually a child involved. You chose to wait until now. You chose to ambush me randomly. You chose a sketchy DNA lab first. So yeah, I'm controlling this situation by making sure everything is legitimate and documented. Deal with it. You are going to regret this. When you see how much child support costs, when you see what you missed, you are going to regret being such a jerk about all of this. Maybe. Or maybe I will regret wasting 2 years of my life on someone who thought screaming at me in the middle of the night was appropriate communication. Her mother came out of the building then. Leave my daughter alone. You have done enough damage. I got in my car and drove away. Wednesday afternoon, the email arrived. I was in a meeting but excused myself immediately to read it in private. Results: 0% probability of paternity. Not mine, not even close. 0. I forwarded the email to my lawyer friend. What now? He called me immediately. She tried to commit paternity fraud. You could potentially press charges, but honestly just keep this documentation and block her again. If she ever tries anything legal, you have proof. The kid is not yours. That is all you need. She wasted my time, my money for the test. She lied about everything. Yeah. But engaging further just invites more drama. You have proof. Walk away. He was right, but I was angry. I forwarded her the results without any comment. 5 minutes later, my phone exploded. Different numbers all calling at once. I answered one. You sabotaged the test. She was shrieking. You paid them off or switched samples or something. There is no way. It is a court-approved facility with chain of custody documentation. I did not touch anything. The kid is not mine. We are done. No, we are not done. You owe me for the 3 years I spent raising. You spent 3 years lying. Goodbye. I hung up and blocked every number that called. Changed my number again that same afternoon. New SIM card, new number. Texted only the people who actually needed to reach me. Cost me $35 and an hour of my time. Worth every penny to never hear from her again. Update 3 thought that was the end of it. Spoiler alert. It was not. 2 weeks later, I got served at work. A process server showed up at my office with legal papers right in front of my colleagues. Lawsuit. She was suing me for emotional distress and financial damages stemming from abandonment during a vulnerable time. She was claiming $45,000. Broke it down as $15,000 for emotional trauma from abandonment. $10,000 for medical expenses related to stress-induced conditions. $20,000 for lost wages and career opportunities due to psychological damage. My boss was understanding about the whole process server situation, but I was completely humiliated. Getting served at work in front of everyone. Called a real attorney this time, not just my friend with legal knowledge, an actual lawyer who specialized in exactly this kind of garbage. She read through the papers and actually laughed. This is one of the weakest cases I have seen in years. You were not married. You had no common law status. You had absolutely no legal obligation to notify her when you relocated. She is grasping at straws. Can she actually win this? Highly unlikely. But we need to respond and defend properly. It will cost you some money up front, but probably less than the emotional cost of letting this circus continue. $2,500 up front for proper legal representation. Whatever. I wanted this handled correctly and permanently. My lawyer filed a response that included the DNA test proving the child was not mine, documentation that she initially tried to use a non-certified lab, text message records showing her calling me controlling. I had kept screenshots of everything, proof that I had maintained steady employment with legitimate reasons for relocating. We also filed a counterclaim for attempted paternity fraud and harassment. Her lawyer, some discount guy she found somewhere, tried to argue that I owed her because I had been financially supporting her during our relationship, and she had become dependent on that support. My lawyer's response basically said that helping pay bills during a relationship does not create any legal obligation after that relationship ends. People break up. That is how life works. The case dragged on for 6 weeks. Discovery was interesting. She had to provide evidence of her supposed stress-induced medical conditions. Submitted some therapy bills and receipts for anxiety medication. My lawyer found her social media. She had forgot to make it private. Posts from 2 weeks after I left showed her at parties, at concerts, at bars. Living my best life finally was one caption. Another said single and free, thank God that is over. Did not exactly scream traumatized by cruel abandonment. We showed up to court for the hearing. She wore a conservative dress and kept dabbing her eyes with a tissue. Her mother was there for moral support. The boyfriend was nowhere to be seen. Interesting. Her lawyer went first with this whole sob story about emotional abuse, how I had been possessive and controlling during our relationship, how I cruelly abandoned her when she needed me most, how the trauma had destroyed her mental health and career prospects. The judge interrupted. Did your client ever attempt to contact him through proper legal channels? File a missing person report? Her lawyer stuttered. Well, no, but did she know where he worked, where he grew up, any family contact information she could have used? She tried to find him, but he blocked her on social media. Blocked on social media is not the same as being unreachable through legal means. Continue. They tried to make the pregnancy angle work even though DNA had proven the child was not mine. Claimed I caused her emotional distress during that vulnerable time regardless of paternity. The judge was clearly not impressed. Then my lawyer presented our side. Clean, simple timeline. We dated. We lived together. I paid most of the bills. She stayed out until 6 a.m. and screamed at me for asking where she was at 3 a.m. I legally ended our cohabitation by removing my belongings from my own apartment. I relocated for a job opportunity. 3 years later, she ambushed me with a false paternity claim. When that was proven false through DNA testing, she filed this lawsuit. My lawyer presented the social media posts showing her living her best life weeks after I left. The text records of her calling me controlling. The DNA results. The judge looked tired. He addressed her directly. People end relationships sometimes suddenly. That is not illegal. You were not married. You had no children together. He had no legal obligation to maintain contact or provide support after ending the relationship. Your claim of abandonment has no legal merit, but he just left. No explanation. I had rights. The judge actually removed his glasses to look at her. You had the right to a relationship that both parties wanted to be in. He exercised his right to end it. Case dismissed. Then he looked at our counterclaim. As for attempted paternity fraud, I'm inclined to believe there was an attempt to deceive here. However, I do not see malicious intent rising to criminal level. I am ordering the plaintiff to pay defendant's legal fees. $2,500. You have 90 days, she gasped. I do not have $2,500. You should have considered that before filing a frivolous lawsuit. Dismissed. Outside the courthouse, her mother started yelling at me. You ruined her life. She had to move back home. She is drowning in debt. All because you could not handle a real woman. Your daughter screamed at me for asking where she was at 3 a.m. Lied about having my child. Tried to scam me with a fake DNA test. Then sued me when none of that worked. She ruined her own life. I just refused to participate in the destruction. She loved you. She loved the 70% of bills I paid. There is a difference. My lawyer pulled me away before I could say anything else. Do not engage further. You won. Walk away. In the car, I felt completely empty. Not happy, not sad, just exhausted. This whole thing had cost me time and money and emotional energy I did not have to spare. 3 years of peace destroyed because she thought she could manipulate me one more time. The $2,500 in legal fees she owed me. Never saw a dime. She filed for bankruptcy 6 months later. Found out through my lawyer friend who kept tabs on the case out of curiosity. Last I heard through the grapevine from a mutual acquaintance who did not know our history, she had moved back to our hometown. Got engaged to some other guy. Was apparently still telling people I had abandoned her when she needed me most. Some people never learn, never take accountability for anything. Just stay bitter and entitled forever. As for me, I changed my number one final time after the court case. Deleted all social media except a private account with about 15 people on it. Made myself as difficult to find as humanly possible. Been with my girlfriend for over a year now. Healthy relationship, actual communication. When she is out late, she texts me to let me know. When I ask where she is, she tells me without screaming about being controlled. Turns out that is completely possible. Who knew? Never told her the full story about my ex. Maybe someday. For now it is just a strange chapter in my past. The time my ex tried to baby trap me 3 years after I ghosted her, and somehow I ended up defending myself in court for abandonment. Still have all the court documents, kept everything, just in case she ever tries again. Proof that I owed her nothing then and owe her nothing now. You want space? Be careful what you wish for. Some people will take you seriously.